Welcome to your Optavia LifeBook audio channel. My name is Christy Baker, and I'm so just overjoyed that you're joining me today. Today is such a great day. We're going to be diving into element 18, part 6, and we're going to be starting on page 369 today. It's all about increasing our EAT activity, and if you're not sure what that stands for, go back to a few previous videos in element 18 and we're walking step by step through our exercise program. It's got a lot of great tools and just practical things for you to put in place to increase that healthy habit of motion. Okay, before we get diving into the reading, if you could take just a quick second and push the like button, subscribe to the channel so you know when the next video is coming out. But also, if you've got a comment, I always respond to those. I would love to hear from you. All right, let's go ahead and get started together. Level 3 is boosting your workouts. So in our last video, we talked about just our basic resistance training program. But today we're going to be upping it up another level. So here are 6 options to boost your EAT resistance workouts. As you become more physically fit, the simplest way to advance is to increase your intensity, frequency, total amount of time, or decrease recovery time, as I have provided some ways that you can do this below. Additionally, in the next section, we are going to explore high intensity interval training, or HIIT. Check with your healthcare provider as you advance your workouts, and that is always recommended. Number 1, increasing your repetitions. Instead of performing 5 repetitions of each exercise, perform 6 to 8 while maintaining the same 8-second pattern. We're lifting the weight for 8 seconds up, hold for 4, and then releasing it down for an additional 8. That's the contraction, holding, and relaxation pattern. You can also increase your resistance. Increasing the weight or resistance that you use in each exercise by 10 to 15% while maintaining the 8-4-8 pattern and your speed. You can accomplish this by reusing resistance bands or heavier dumbbells. Make sure that your exercise ball is fully inflated to ensure greatest balance challenge to your core. You'll also want to increase your own focus and effort of contraction. The third way that we can boost our level is by increasing sets or rotations. Complete 3 rotations instead of just 2, and this will increase your EAT resistance workout time by 1/3 or 10 minutes. The fourth way that we can increase our levels is decreasing recovery time. Decrease the amount of time you rest between each exercise from 20 seconds to 10 seconds. Not only will this increase the demand on your muscle fibers, but it will enable you to maintain an elevated heart rate throughout your resistance workout. Number 5, increase your speed. The increase of speed of each repetition from 8-4-8 to 4-2-4. You'll generate more force per repetition, which means that you should also increase the resistance or amount of weight by 15 to 25%. And lastly, the last way is to maintain muscular contraction. Pay closer attention to keeping the contraction in your muscles, not your bones. It's common to lock out your joints during exercise by straightening your elbows in a push-up or your knees in a squat, for example. This transfers the weight onto your bone structure and away from your working muscles, and it's not recommended. By avoiding that lockout, you increase tension and maintain a higher level of intensity throughout your repetitions. And lastly, intensifying your EAT walking workouts through interval training. We had previously reserved the introduction of HIIT training until we've reached the ultra health section of Dr. A's Habits of Health book, because of the condition that it's required to perform at this level of fitness. But however, recent studies and growing experience is showing that HIIT is highly effective at removing stubborn, resistant fat. Once you've reached the level of fitness described above, you might want to consider using at least some HIIT movement. High-intensity interval training is a time-efficient way to train your aerobic or your cardiovascular and your anaerobic, your muscular, energy burning systems. It's called interval training because it consists of short periods or intervals of high-intensity cardiovascular activity, followed by short periods of lower intensive cardiovascular activity. By alternating high and low intensity intervals, you intensify the metabolic challenge to your muscles, and you increase the amount of calories burned in each 20-minute session. This can help prevent an injury by keeping exercise time shorter and saving muscles from overuse. Excuse me. The difference between high intensity and low intensity intervals. High intensity intervals are around 75 to 95% of your maximum heart rate, or a rate of perceived exertion. It should be about 7 to 9. A low intensity interval would be more like 50 to 60% of your maximum heart rate, or the rate of perceived exertion would be about a 5 to 6. You can do these types of interval trainings without any equipment. You just need some room where you can move around. Your perceived level of exertion will be greater than 7 to 9, which means that it's important to rest between exercises every time. If you're just beginning, change the ratio of work to rest so that you're working for less time and resting for longer. We've got a whole routine listed on page 371 that I would highly encourage you to go back, look at each step, and see how you can be incorporating each of these type of exercises into your HIIT training. I'll go just briefly over each one, but go back to your book for more details. The first exercise is butt kicks for 45 seconds. And for each one, they will give a detailed description of how to do them. Number 2 would be jump squats for 45 seconds. Number 3 is burpees for 45 seconds. Number 4 is mountain climbers for 45 seconds. Number 5 is alternating side lunges. And lastly are jumping lunges. And it says to repeat that circuit twice for your HIIT workout. The second routine that you could do is to do each of these moves for 40 seconds, then drop to a forearm plank for 20 seconds after each exercise, and rest for 1 minute after each set. Your first exercise would be mountain climbers. Number 2, forearm plank. Rest for a minute. Number 3, plank jacks. Number 4, that forearm plank, and then 1 minute rest. Number 5 would be lateral plank walks, and there's a nice description if you don't know how to do those in there, and then rest for 1 minute. And you would repeat that circuit twice. After the workout, take a minute and ask yourself, how is your HIIT workouts progressing? Are you increasing in your stamina and your strength? Are you burning more fat? It's a good idea to start out by measuring your waist circumference and then follow and track that. That way you can see your improvement over time. All right, that's it for this section of our chapter. Thank you for joining me, and we'll be finishing up element 18 in our next video.